Chef Jose is an individual. I was born in Caracas, Venezuela, in South America. I grew up there, and I had the opportunity to experience all those Latin American foods. And my father, he's actually from Spain, and being a kid and throughout my growth, we traveled to Spain to visit my grandparents up there. And being in Europe and in Spain, particularly in some of the European countries, and tasting the different kinds of food from all those countries and different regions and cultures, it really awakened my taste for adventure and for the culinary field. So now I'm the chef here at CUBA LiBRE restaurant in Orlando, Florida, and welcome. I first knew I wanted to be a chef when I was working in Boston, Massachusetts, and I was working actually at a bakery, and I was making Syrian Lebanese style bread, those pita pockets and whatnot. And I had a friend that worked with me, and he said, "Hey, I'm working at a restaurant called Legal Seafoods up in here in Boston. They're looking for a fry cook." I'm like, "Well, I never fried before, nothing. I never cooked anything in my life." And he says, "Don't worry, just tell the chef that you have experience. He'll hire you." I'm like, "Okay, fine." So went there, and my first night it was extremely busy. I had no clue what I was doing, and it was pretty intense. And at the end of the night, I figured out, like, this is what I want to do. Like, that was such a rush, and it was just a lot of fun. So that was my day. I like creating food by the actual ingredient. You have to look at the ingredient, and the ingredient is going to tell you what it wants you to do to it, basically. Using fresh ingredients obviously is key, and good quality ingredients also, but the ingredients will tell you which way they need to be treated. Obviously you have events, and you have people's choices and requests and all of that to take into consideration, but I let the ingredient talk to me, and I go from there. Well, in a Cuban restaurant, you'll find a lot of garlic, a lot of peppers and onions, rice and beans, and a lot of pork, beef, chicken, just basic staples of Cuban cuisine. My favorite dish at the restaurant is called lechon asado, in which we get a leg of pork and we do a dry rub on it, and we leave that on a dry rub for about 24 hours. And then we come the next day and we put a liquid marinade, which is basically orange juice, lime juice, olive oil, oregano, and some other spices, and we let that sit for 48 hours. And after that whole time has gone by, we go ahead and slow roast it for 24 hours, actually 18 to 24 hours until it's done. Then we pull the pork in nice sized chunks. When we get that dish, and we're gonna do it here at the restaurant, we will get the pork, and we'll put it in a really hot pan with a little bit of sour orange mojo, and then we serve it with yuca mash, which is made with yuca, which is a root that you find throughout Latin America, very starchy, and we add ají amarillo to that, which is a pepper that originates in Peru. It's yellow and it's nice and it's spicy, and we'll serve that with black bean broth, and the pork goes on top of the yuca mash, and we put a little bit of slaw and some chicharrones, which chicharrones are fried pork skin. That is really crunchy, so we use all of that. So I love that particular dish because you will taste sweetness, you will taste different contrast of flavors, and a little bit of spiciness as well. I very rarely cook at home, but when I do cook at home, I love sandwiches. So I can make any kind of bread, any kind of sandwich that you can think of. I probably made it before, even some weird combinations. One of my favorites is peanut butter and strawberry jam sandwich, and but the only way I can eat that is if it has potato chips, pickle, and it has to have a glass of milk to go with. Otherwise I can't eat it. Well, in the chef community here in Orlando, we know each other quite a bit. So I go to some of my friends' restaurants and have a little appetizer here and there. But when I hear from them that there is this small place that just opened in Winter Park, or that just opened somewhere in Lake Buena Vista, or whatever it might be, I like to go and try them. I really go for the smaller, newer, non-chain restaurants when I go out to dine. I think that the food is done with a little bit more care, and you can see that on the plate. A little bit of love, goes a long way. I consider myself a leader in the kitchen because I like to lead my team to do the best they can on a daily basis, and I want them all to succeed in their current careers and eventually move on to be their own, have their own places or be chefs in restaurants like CUBA LiBRE. As an artist, food is art, so I think that's kind of like a given. I enjoy that aspect of the industry, but as far as managing people, I like to consider myself as more as a leader and get them to go to the next level. By the way, they all know that when they become chefs and they have their own restaurants, they all have been advised that I will go to their restaurants and eat for free. So that's what they need to pay me for. All those days and hard work, that's how they're going to pay me back.